Could it really be possible that an unknown developer is going to try to take on the likes of Battlefield and Call of Duty in the next year? Oh my, that is quite the challenge. Well, Bulkhead Interactive plans to do just this with their upcoming World War II shooter, Battalion 1944. Hello there, my fellow Overworld gamers. What's up? It's Robbie with Overworld Games, and let's do this. And you know, Bulkhead Interactive, they are a very young team and full of amazing talent. And a lot of you guys ask me constantly, how do I get involved in game development? Well, Full Sail University has the answer for you if you're interested in game design, game art, game programming, the mobile gaming space. They were kind enough to write me and sponsor this video, so special thanks to them for doing that. You can find out more about them by following the link in the description below or checking them out at fullsail.edu/YouTube. You know, a lot of the graduates have gone on to work on such games as Destiny, Call of Duty, Far Cry, some huge franchises in the gaming industry. And Full Sail students receive a laptop along with game industry software to give you the right tools and technology to learn. So again, if you want to get into game development, be sure to check them out in the description below. Good luck! So back to Battalion 1944. Some of you guys have heard of this game, some of you haven't. I'm going to get into why it could actually compete against Call of Duty and Battlefield in just a moment. But for those of you that have not heard of Battalion 1944, well, what in the world is it? So it is a World War II shooter that actually started out on Kickstarter and quickly met its goal. In fact, it surpassed it big time and actually did end up meeting a lot of its stretch goals, which means we will be getting a D-Day competitive map. That sounds so freaking awesome. I'm a huge World War II buff over here. I'm wearing a Medal of Honor shirt, and this was by accident. So yes, I'm a big-time World War II fan. Now, we will also be getting a Korea boot camp map, which is inspired by one of my favorite miniseries, Band of Brothers, which I'm sure many of you have seen. So expect a wide variety of locations set in realistic World War II battlegrounds with fast competitive play. And no, there will be no vehicles in this one, so it will be infantry based. If you're annoyed by, you know, a tank rolling in and you can't do anything about it, do not worry, it's going to be just infantry warfare. And yes, Bulkhead Interactive is looking to make a high quality product. When they say they want to compete against Battlefield 5 and Call of Duty, they really actually do mean it. Now, it will ship sometime in 2017, and we should be seeing alphas and betas down the road. In fact, they plan to challenge some of the biggest AAA titles in the industry. Now, this is where it gets really intriguing, as executive producer Joe Brimmer had to say this about the game. The reason these stretch goals were placed at such a high price is because characters cost a lot to make. We are not cutting corners on this game at all. If we want to join the ranks alongside Activision and DICE, we need to build quality like they do. This costs money. For us to design entire character sets, all the customization that go with it, custom faces, weapons, voiceovers, implementing them into the game, maps, environments, and in some cases game modes, that all costs money. Now, one thing I really do like is how realistic he is about it. He's not acting like everything can be free in the world. You have to have the manpower, the talent, hiring the right people to really make this game proper, and it seems like they have met a lot of their goals. And then later on, when I get into more about this game, you'll find out that publishers are really interested in what Bulkhead are doing, because they are just taking off in popularity. Now, unfortunately, the game did not reach its stretch goal to add a single-player campaign. A lot of you will really be bummed out about this. So for the time being, it is going to be a multiplayer-centric shooter, so you got to think of it that way. However, again, Bulkhead has had some pretty big game publishers come to them recently, and they did visit GDC in the past month to really find out what they could do about adding more funding and trying to get more support. So only time will tell to see what actually happens with single player and Battalion 1944. So what can we expect from the actual game features? So that is a really good question. It's going to drop the progression system familiar to Call of Duty and Battlefield players and have most of its equipment and weapons available from the onset, making the game about your player's skill versus the progression, so that it's all balanced from the get-go. You aren't dealing with some dude that has upgraded to level whatever and has some power weapon that you are trying to get and it seems unfair. So they're going to do away with that system, and it's going to be about learning the map, strategizing with your battalion. More on battalions later because they actually are part of the game. And the infantry-based shooting, it's going to forego that vehicular combat to keep it nice and frenetic. Now, the game prides itself on tight, close-quarters maps with realistic graphics thanks to the power of photogrammetry, which I'm sure many of you have actually heard about this. This is the same tech used for Star Wars Battlefront. I remember hearing that term all the time when Star Wars Battlefront was really advertising the game. The game's already looking really, really sharp in its early stages, by the way, so it'll be exciting to see how it looks when it's fully realized. And you and your friends will be able to join a battalion to compete in seasons with something called Battle Rank, which is going to be the global competition system that will reward you with cosmetic changes for your character, weapons, and accessories. And don't panic, they're going to be keeping customization realistic. It's going to be World War II themed. You're not going to be seeing a pink Thompson all of a sudden appear on the battlefield. That would be just freaking nuts. You know, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and, you know, the recent Call of Duties have really gone away from the look and feel of Call of Duty 4 and the older Call of Duty. So it's nice to see this return. So yes, I cannot wait to see all of you on the battlefield soon enough. You know, I cannot wait for these World War II shooters, and I really hope we hear more and more about them in the future. It's going to be interesting to see if Battlefield or Call of Duty this year, if they are going to be going to World War II, because the competition is going to be fierce, which just makes games even better, of course. So that type of competitive environment really makes games shine. It seems like the guys at Bulkhead Interactive are really in tuned to raising enough funds to make this a really amazing quality experience. At least I'm hoping. And stay tuned here to Open World Games for more about Bulkhead Interactive's Battalion 1944. Of course, it's coming out around May 2017, I believe, is going to be their goal for release. So look forward to more information about that. That could change. They're trying to guesstimate the release date, which is always difficult with games. But guys, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the battlefield in World War II this time.